I think the first thing that I realized when I started working for myself and having my own business is our OT skills are not business skills. We think, okay, I think I can do this. I think I know what I'm doing. And then we all generally have a basis of life skills. But then I quickly realized I probably needed help to understand the business side of things. And I considered that an investment in being able to then look after myself. So less time wasting, time making mistakes. If others have run the path, I'm going to take their advice.
Hello and welcome to the Healthy Business Lab podcast, where we interview awesome allied health business owners to share insights, knowledge, learnings for others in the space as well. And today I'm super excited to be joined by Kezia Tieck from Staying Independent. And I know she's going to share a bunch load of stuff. We've had a great chat before this episode today. So great to have you on the call, Kezia.
Thanks, Craig.
Feel free to introduce yourself a little bit more than what I've just done there.
Sure. So I'm Kezia. I am an occupational therapist. I also my own practice, Staying Independent. We're an approved provider. I started the practice as a sole trader and thought, okay, I worked in public health. I liked the NDIS. I was interested in disability. So then I thought I'd shift across. And I think I came into this thinking, oh yeah, limited time at the hospital, work-life balance, let's work for ourselves. And then in reality, it's a bit harder, but I still think it's the best job I've had so far by a mile.
Love it. I love that sort of what you've touched on a few things that we'll pack a little bit further on this call. But again, that journey from, hey, being very good at what we do and then going into, now running a business. Okay, what to from there? And somewhere I'd like to start these chats with is also that one of the things of looking after yourself as a business owner. We often don't do that very well. I know I've been at fault of doing that. And because we're talking with people with great experience in ways of looking after yourself, I'd love for you to share a little bit of that expertise and things that you see that you do that can also translate to business owners looking after themselves as a part of daily habits and rituals and those sorts of things.
So I think the first thing that I realized when I started working for myself and having my own business is our OT skills are not business skills. We think, okay, I think I can do this. I think I know what I'm doing. And then we all generally have a basis of life skills. But then I quickly realized I probably needed help to understand the business side of things. And I considered that an investment in being able to then look after myself. So less time wasting, time making mistakes. If others have run the path, I'm going to take their advice. And I feel like that has been really, really good to align myself with people who have done this before and talk to them and reach out to them and say, hey, I'm new to this. What do you suggest? And people are very giving of advice and time if you ask.
Brilliant. I love that. And that's that kind of idea of knowing that your clients are reaching out to you for that same process. Yeah. And it's like, okay, from a business sense, I haven't really done that. So I'm going to look after myself by, hey, seeking out expertise, knowledge, insights, and all those sorts of things, which hopefully, again, that's what we're now paying that forward as a part of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Even that evolution then of stepping into that learning and evolution of going from the sole trader up to multiple team members and the like is what sort of experiments have you done in your business? And again, as soon as we met and jumping onto your website and your social profile, something that, I'll throw out there, I thought is no doubt one of the coolest experiments is your niching, and you're really focused on who you actually work with and how you go about that. I'd love to unpack that a little bit, your experience with that.
I think the thing that I've worked out is we've got within the NDIS, there is so much work. There's work for 10 times. The supply demand is so out of whack. The way that I've found, I really like working with young people. Young people is probably our area. And so I've built my business. That's what we do. And we do it really well. So I said it on my website. I say it to all my contacts, to my providers. If we don't fit your brief, I will help you find someone else. Because it's actually not in our interest and the guys that work in my team to say, hey, here's a client, go and see this participant. If they aren't comfortable, then we're actually doing a disservice to the participant. I feel very strongly to say we don't take referrals from everyone. If we're not skilled in that space, let us help you find someone else. Because between the network of contacts within Sydney alone, there's so many really great providers and great OTs and other allied health that we can share and provide the participants a much better service if it's not necessarily us.
Yeah, I love that. And that's, again, all I can hear bouncing around my brain is that's happening is the scarcity versus abundance mindset side of things. It's that at the end of the day, I'm here to achieve great outcomes for our clientele, but for anybody who comes into our sphere, then how can actually we do that? Which really comes to that lovely person-centered approach to everything we're doing.
But that also rolls into that we can help other colleagues build their businesses. So it's not just, it's twofold. So it's absolutely about the participant that they get a good match, but then it's also about supporting other allied health staff, whether like allied business owners, whether they're OTs or physios or EPs. There's a community of us starting off as business owners or people who we've got a bit of a thing going, but we need to support each other. I really feel strongly that we can share referrals. We refer on. It's actually helping another business build their business, which I am 1000% for, supporting other businesses.
That is brilliant, and it's echoing as why you're such an ideal person to be chatting to for what we're doing here. And I think, again, you practice what you preach here. I've been across your socials since we first got connected a little while ago, which was from somebody else actually mentioning you as well. But then I think I was looking at your LinkedIn and you were catching up with a fellow dietitian in the last week, and again sharing that out there and saying, hey, connect with me if you want to. So obviously we'll have attached to this episode here all of your details, and if anybody is out there that wants to connect, feel free. Make sure you reach out to Kezia and continue this whole process of the rising tide at the end of the day of that's how we get great outcomes across the board. Now, we've spoken a little bit off air as well, a little bit, some other experiments that you've had. I'd love for you to share a few of those. You've got some great sort of things that you've tried in this growing phase of your business. What other sort of experience and learnings have you had in growing your practice?
So one of the things that I did, which I didn't ever know or understand about, was the value of a business coach. So prior to working as an OT, I worked in marketing and advertising, and then I retrained. So I kind of have a bit of an idea of some parts of business, but I haven't run a business before. So that was new to me. In the same way, if you go into the bank, you see a specialist person for whatever you need, a home loan specialist. I went and did like a 12-week course. It was one session a week, and I got some 101 basics. I think that made a huge difference, that then I could understand the processes. So things like, for example, I learned what a concrete diary was, which means about time blocking. So then it's not putting spot fires out. So then there's times of the day where you're doing your emailing, you're responding to clients, and that's at that point. And then you block in another time, and that's when you're on the road. And then you block, because if you block, the productivity rises dramatically. I think that has been really useful. And the other thing which I have found kind of interesting, and I imagine others who are listening to this who are starting their business or have their business, when you work for yourself, you become very accessible, because there's not a gap between, like in the hospital, there's not a pager to page you. Like this is, because I was on the phone. So that's been a really big learning as well, to say that, hang on, I can't always be available because a client wants me right now, because then you have to split yourself. So having some boundaries to say, yes, I hear you, I will do it, but then I can't do everything immediately. So like managing expectations has been a big thing, I think. Yeah,
brilliant. And again, I think that managing expectations and boundaries, it's a great word of, hey, how do we put some in the space between what we're doing and align with how am I going to work best?
Yeah.
And I need to work at my best to have the best outcomes for the people. And if I do a piecemeal thing over here for you, it may not actually give you the best outcome that you actually could if I put it in where it needs to fit. And so, which is also, you touch upon there, that whole idea of I've only got a certain amount of time at the end of the day. And so one of your more recent growths that we touch upon is growing a team. Again, how have you found that, and the experimenting, sort of piecing that together? How have you found that experience?
Look, I think it's been really good. I feel like it's very liberating when you run your own business. You can sort of write your own ads. When I wrote my first CCAT, I thought, what am I meant to write here? And I thought, actually, I can write what I like, because my ad. So I think the way that I've built my team and picked who fits within our group is very much on, yes, people have their qualifications, but it's also on gut, it's fit, it's feel. Who are the kind of people that I want to work with and who I feel will work well with the clients. That's been really cool. I've really enjoyed finding interesting people who are vested in the work and also particularly who have other parts of their life. Quite a few of the guys are parents, and that's okay. So we can work around that and work in very flexibly. If you support people outside of their life as well, you reap what you sow. The return is huge if you let people have some space to say, hey, this is what's my priority outside of work, and we work together. It's been, big difference. It's really exciting. I really like the guys that I work with, and we work in a really unusual space. We don't operate out of a traditional practice. We are part of a big warehouse in a shared workspace. We have a locked office, but then we're also part of this really cool space with common areas, and there's pool table and outdoor space and ping pong table. So yeah, we're doing it a bit different, but it's pretty cool.
And I'd love to touch upon that. There's a couple of great things I would like to unpack in as much as that idea of we're looking at team members as a whole. They're whole people, the same as what we do with our clients. And let's put that into how we're going to structure and build the business, which is something great. And even the premises that you're talking about there, 100%. I'd love for you to share a bit more around the thinking that I guess went in around that aspect of getting the right fit and for what you were trying to create, because as you touched upon there, that's very different. And some people will have just gone, I need to do what other people have done, and just go, oh, I've got to get a premises and it needs to look like this, and potentially have that feeling of I should or I'm supposed to or the like. But what I love is you've sort of obviously gone through a process that's a bit different to that, to then go, well, how's this? And then you've already touched upon some of the benefits. You can see it in what you've sort of mentioned there, but I'd love to go a bit deeper on that.
I think I started as a sole trader. I was working at home. I was working in a room from my house, and then as things ramped up, and they ramped up really quickly, I've also had to learn scaling as well, which is a whole other business skill. So that's a side thing. But when I needed to find a workspace, I looked at heaps of different options. I looked at more traditional ones of a practice room within like a doctor's sort of place, and then a regular office building. And then I came across this idea of shared workspaces. So they became pretty big in COVID, where you can hot desk, where we're based in, it's called Watso, WOTSO, Watso in Zetland. And most of the people who work from here are creatives. There's lots of digital agency, ad agency. The vibe is so far from disability. But when we came to look at the space, I thought, oh, this is great. This is great, because it's not what you expect. And when we've had our clients come, they're like, wow, okay, this is cool. So there's heaps of spaces where we can do a lot of our work, because a lot of our clients, it's psychosocial disability, spectrum and intellectual disability. We can work with them anywhere. We're not limited by any we can take them wherever we like around the place. They love it. It's fantastic. And I think that they just walk in and they think, whoa, this isn't what I was expecting. But it's been excellent. And also on that note, the staff really like to come. They like to be in this space because it's got a nice vibe, and there's coffee shops nearby, and there's spots they can take their work and do it in the sun because there's big courtyard and stuff. It's great. I'm thinking, where's everyone else?
Yeah. While you're in there, a whole warehouse of allied health practitioners creating these spaces.
Yes. And the thing that people say is, but this isn't where disability is. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we need to be here. Yeah, that's why we're here, because particularly for the young people, why shouldn't we be in this kind of cool warehouse? So come on, here we are.
Yeah. Which again is working in alignment with, well, who are you working with as well? And how is that actually going to benefit them? And I can totally picture that of how you just said, clients come in and go, whoa, this is what I was expecting, but okay, this is interesting. And again, that will also help if there are certain clients that may not be a fit for, that it helps you say, well, actually, that's not going to be a fit because this is our style and our approach. And we can leverage all this, that we can use it in our practice, in what we're actually doing and what we're trying to help our clients with, especially you touch upon there, some of the social and the different environments, and being able to be flexible with that rather than going into the same four walls every session kind of things can
exactly.
have a massive impact.
We do lots of our work we meet them where they want. If it's in the community, we go to their home, to their school, to their uni, whatever. But then we also have that they can come here. For example, one of them this week came, and we've got a big pool table here. We did our session, often also with some of the clients, sort of sitting face to face, like, let's talk about things. It doesn't work. But you'd be surprised how open people become if you're learning with them over an activity. It's far less confrontational. We've used that as a bit of a tool also to get to know someone. Let's play a game of pool. There's a ping pong table. Let's do that. People open up immediately. Where we are has served a purpose as well, to be able to connect with our clients more. So it's been really good.
I love that. And it's a brilliant example of experimenting, trying something a bit different, and then going through the process of, well, how can we actually leverage this? And again, that whole idea, we do it with what we do here, that idea of being able to sit beside people, so to speak. And that whole idea of sitting opposite people is like, hang on a second. It's like, how can we look at something or do something over here? And we're doing that together. And again, having a space to be able to do that is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. And the other thing, which is my staff thinks quite novel, we have other providers we work with within the city. So we're Zetland, so kind of like the fringe. Parking's a bit of a pain. We've got push bikes. Yeah, so cool. We've got bikes that we ride. If one of the guys we work with down the road, they're about, 900 meters, we just get on our bike. There's a couple of bikes we have downstairs. Okay, we're going to go meet them over there. We go.
Happy days.
Yeah.
And coming back to that idea of, or circle back to looking after yourself as a business owner or team members or the like, there's some pretty cool benefits of looking at it, keeping active, moving all the time, and those sorts of things. And even what you've just talked about there, again, I know myself working in the offices at times, it's like, I got to get out and move more, which at different points of being a business owner, I'm head down, I'm doing all the work, and you're like, hang on a second, I've got to get out and interact with people. I've got to just get fresh air. I've got to do all those things. So even having that cool ability there of being conscious of that is super cool.
I just said to one of the OTs just before I came into the office, this is actually just one of our breakout rooms. It's like pretty cool setup. Anyway, I just said to her, after this, we'll go get a coffee because we need to catch up about what she's doing and her clients and so on. So we'll jump on the bikes and we'll just like pedal down. It's like literally 5 minutes, but it's kind of nice to get out. We pedal, we grab a coffee, and then we come back. So
love it. That's great.
I know it's a bit odd, but
no, I'm taking you on myself. Again, I was aware of where you're located, and again, having done a bit of research on that, but just to hear you talk it out, it's like, yeah, that's super cool. So I'm so glad you've shared that with people. Again, to be able to at least think differently, to go, hey, there are options, and what's going to work for me if I'm starting a practice or even evolving a practice, something to consider, something to think about. People may not go and do that, but like, there might be aspects of it they could incorporate into the traditional one premises or whatever it is.
And I think that's been the really big thing that's been, when I started, I thought I need to do it because that's what I thought I was meant to do. And I think now I've thrown everything out the window because I can do it because that would work. It's like problem solving as an OT or anyone. How can I make this work? We can get bikes. Let's get bikes. So the beauty of working for yourself is you make the rules. That's been really cool but it takes a bit of confidence to then kind of say, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write my ad this way, or I'm going to, whatever it is. But that's something definitely that I would feel. So a few other allied health people who have businesses have reached out and said, how do we do this? That's the kind of thing that I would want to help others to say, give them a little bit of a lift to say, you can, but it's just a bit of a push of confidence. That's all.
Yeah, and again, it is seeing is believing sometimes as well, which again, I love sharing these stories. If people go, hey, I can see it, I can see what Kezia is doing and amazing stuff, and awesome. There's that awesome little ripple effect to go, there is somebody out there doing it. And even if it's not, they don't have to copy that, so to speak, but it's like I can see the thought process that has gone on behind that, which is, hey, I think a bike's a great idea. I think the outcome, all the steps that you would have gone through underneath even just that statement is, I think it'll work. I think this means that we could get out, we could do X, Y, Z, all the rest of it. And then there would have been a process of, the first few times you're doing it. Is it actually achieving that? Is it worthwhile? So it is that whole idea of experimenting, which is why I love using that word, and I bandy on about it in these conversations as well, is because at the end of the day, you can have a hypothesis, you can check whether it works, and then you can always change it. And I think historically in business, it's kind of like, it's right or wrong. And it's like, nah, let's be done with all that. It's experimenting what works.
With the word pivot, that's one of the things that I've learned is you do it and you pivot, because nothing happens if you just think about it. You just do it and you pivot. So nothing's perfect, but nothing will happen if you do nothing. So I always think when we do something, let's go, and then we pivot, and then we pivot. And most of the time it's pretty good. And things don't go right all the time, but that's life. That's life. That's like personal life. It's life. It's business. But you pivot, and the best gains is what you learn from the fails. That's been a big lesson. Sometimes it's hard and you think, oh my gosh, why did I do this? But then you just pivot and you keep going.
Love it. So many cool words. Again, I love that as well. As people can go, that word works for me, pivot. Brilliant. That's great. And I know the analogy I've heard a number of times is the old yachts of the changing tack.
Yeah.
They never go in a straight line. It's like, I'll get from here to there. They'll keep on changing to find the right winds and the like. So another way of doing it. Any last little experiments, conscious of time here, that we're talking off air, a couple of little tech sort of things that you've experimented with? Love for you to share one or two of those as well.
So I would say one of the things that I am really interested in is AI. And I've got a few different platforms that I've been using within my business. And I've learned a lot of this off lots of different avenues, including within allied health. We've got some really, really good experts who know AI far more than me, but using these platforms to become more efficient. It will never replace our clinical reasoning. However, it can help training staff, for example. So there's tools that you can do the task, you can do your record screen, and it will then break it down task by task. So I've used that a lot when I've been teaching. So then I can speak it breaks it down, and then it sends to her so she can do step by step. And that also works also for training for new staff. So that's been good. And then there's been other ones that are useful for recording and all sorts of different. Then there's like the Heidi Health, and then there's the ones to help with every task. But also on that note, AI is really good for our participants to teach them efficiency. So it's not just for us, but we're using it also to how can we help our participants learn technology and AI.
Love that. And that's a great way. Again, you're experimenting with yourself. You can pay it forward for obviously the business side of things, but this is where the world is headed.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, being educated and aware of that to then have that flow through is great. I guess rounding off, I'd love for you to share sort of an example of a case study of transformations you've taken from the clients that you have come in and the benefits of what you do that keep you doing what you're actually doing.
Well, so our passion is young people. The biggest thing that we see is, and I think this is also because of social media as well, a lot of our young people really want to connect. They want to make a friend. They want to have a relationship. They want to have a connection, but they don't know how. The first thing I say is, if you want a friend, you have to know how to be a friend. So that's been one of the big things that we've learned, to teach some of our guys how to make social connections. Learning how to connect with someone is kind of the crux of being able to live in a house with people, work in a workplace, go to school, because if you can't read the world around you, which with a lot of like clients with ASD, it's just a different language. It's not that they're not being rude, they're not being dismissive. It's a different language, and we just need to help them read it. So with a lot of our guys, once we've taught them how to read and interpret, the connection is, man, it's like crazy. It's like they're suddenly like, whoa, I didn't even see that people's body position or their language or their expression is saying something, but it is. So that's probably been pretty epic that we've been able to see. We can actually show these people, teach them how they can communicate on their terms to be able to read the world around them. So I think that's probably pretty good.
I'll go back to what you said earlier, that the excitement in your voice and face for those that will watch this on video as well is, I could picture you seeing those light bulb moments going off with the client when you've worked on these sorts of things, and then seeing that and going, whoa, this is, pretty life-changing at the end of the day.
No, it's good. And I'm an all-in kind of person. So I love what I do, and I'm very enthusiastic. Yeah. It's great.
I'm so happy and grateful for joining us to share some insights, and you've covered so much ground in a short space of time. Again, this podcast is all about sharing insights, sharing knowledge, sharing learnings, and showing the great outcomes that are possible from the rising tide, as you touched upon a little bit earlier. We want more amazing allied health businesses and practices out there doing exactly what Kezia and the Staying Independent team are doing. And with that, feel free to connect with us. Connect with Kezia. We'll have all the links to socials and websites in the show notes, and very much stay connected. Kezia, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your message.
Thanks, Craig.
Catch you later, everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Business Lab podcast. Make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest episodes.